that moves us on then to the third of our 4 topics. I want to talk to you a little bit about social media marketing. Now, the thing about social media is, social media can play a very important part of your internet marketing strategy. And when we think about strategy, I think there are 3 things that your strategy needs to do. The first thing your strategy needs to do is it needs to get more visitors to come to your website. This is a process called acquisition. And the classic acquisition techniques might be search engine optimization, it might be pay-per-click advertising, it might be display advertising. We need to get visitors to the site. The second technique that we need to do is called conversion. And that means when I get to your website, I know what you want me to do, I trust you, and I convert, which probably means I either buy something, or I make an inquiry, or I get in touch with you. And the third part of your internet marketing strategy is called retention and loyalty. And that means once I get you as a client, I keep you as a client. You continue to buy from me. Do all of you guys want customers that keep buying from you? Please say yes. Keeping existing customers is your most effective marketing strategy. And the internet is very good at retention and loyalty. And the classic retention and loyalty techniques are email marketing, for instance. That's where you keep in touch with people who know you and love you. What we need to think about was social media. And by social media, I'm talking about things like Twitter, or Facebook, or blogging, or LinkedIn. How are you going to use social media either to acquire people, to convert people, or to keep them loyal to you? Now, what I thought would be useful, though, is to start off by reminding you exactly what social media means. And I apologize to people who've been to the previous workshop. Social media is a huge area. So it could be, starting with this wheel at the top, social media does allow us to publish information. And one of the most important, and here it is, one of the most important social media marketing techniques that I would advise all of you to do is to write a blog. I can't think of any business in this room that should not be writing a blog. It is the #1 technique you should all be using. Think search engine optimization. Why does Google love blogs? Because you update it regularly? Because you're writing about thematic things? Because people might write a comment on the blog? Blogging is really very, very good. Now again, Business Link has commissioned me. I'll be teaching a blogging workshop in the autumn, and those dates are now available on the website. So if any of you want to come to the Business Link event, we're going to be doing a Blogging for Success workshop. Moving our way, and there could be other ways of you publishing information, but blogging is, to me, a no-brainer for all of you. Moving our way around the wheel, we can also use the social media to share stuff. So Flickr is a picture sharing site. You can put your photographs up there. YouTube, what does YouTube share? It shares video, doesn't it? And who, by the way, owns YouTube? Google owns YouTube. Yeah? So we could be sharing pictures, we could be sharing video. And also there is our sharing service. For instance, if any of you use PowerPoint slides, there's a service called SlideShare. And you can share your PowerPoint presentations and put your PowerPoint presentations on your website. You can share your PDFs. Do any of you create PDFs? Do you know what I'm talking about? These like manuals and guides. You can put your PDFs on a sharing site called Issue, and it allows people to look at your content. And again, I think for many of us, we've covered a lot of this in previous workshops. But you might want to think, what kind of content could you be sharing? I also think, though, that a lot of you suspect that what I'm going to talk about today with social media would be social networking. Of course, the busiest social network here in the United Kingdom for business people is LinkedIn. Do we have LinkedIn people on LinkedIn here today? Good, because LinkedIn seems to be, to me, to be the one that you really do understand. And there's lots that we could be doing with LinkedIn in terms of networking, discovering who we know, discovering who our contacts are, joining groups, running surveys, sharing our PowerPoint presentations. There's a lot that we could be doing with LinkedIn to build relationships with other people. There are other social networking sites, for instance, such as Facebook. Do we have any Facebook people, companies doing things on Facebook here today? Again, huge opportunities on Facebook, in particular, in my opinion, for business-to-consumer sites. So here's, business to consumers are, I've got lots of examples of how a lot of businesses are making good money by building and developing their Facebook community. So there's a lot of different tools here that we could use, and moving our way finally around the wheel might be an option called microblogging. And microblogging is that phenomenon called Twitter. And Twitter, quite simply, is when you send out little short messages that are no longer than the length of a text message, and I send little messages out, and people can listen to what I'm saying. And I guess my question for you is, do your customers use Twitter? Do your customers use Facebook? Do your customers read blogs? You need to think, does my customer base use which of these social media technologies? And in internet marketing, what I would recommend you do is you need to create something called a persona. And that means is, who is my customer? And we've profiled our customers, and we find that most of our customer base are what I would call traditional businesses. These are successful businesses that have been trading for quite a while. They're very sales-oriented. They're very customer-focused. They want to move into the internet space, but they're a little bit worried about the internet. The guy that I work with is generally a man. He's usually the managing director of the company. He's a little bit older than me. He's probably been ripped off by an unethical company previously to me, and he's a bit anxious about the whole thing. And he's called Pete. So what I need to do is to write everything. I need to focus on, what does Pete do? Does Pete care about Twitter? Do we have any Petes in the room? Pete does not care about Twitter. Does Pete use Facebook for business stuff? You must be joking. Does this make sense? So you need to understand your customers to decide which of these social technologies are appropriate for your target market. Okay? So, and we could think about that, and that's where I hope all of you know who your market is. To whom am I speaking, and how am I going to develop these technologies? Now, if you're looking at using these technologies, if you're not familiar with them, your first step is called to monitor your digital footprint. And that means is, are people talking about you whether you like it or not? And that means is that there is on the internet a free search engine that you can use called Social Mention. Okay? And what Social Mention does, and I'm going to search for Business Link, should we do that? What this is going to do is it's not going to search web pages like Google does. What Social Mention searches is Twitter, comments on blogs. So it actually looks to see, are people writing comments about you? Are they uploading videos about you? Are they bookmarking you? Are they blogging about you? So it's looking at all of these social media nooks and crannies. And what it will then do is, if we search for Business Link, it's going to go and search for content across the universe. And it will then answer back to us all the content on all the social networks that it can find. What do you think they're going to be saying about Business Link? Business Link, what do you reckon they're going to be saying? Okay? Here. This is so nice. So, 11 minutes ago, Business Link, you should be taking a picture of this. 11 minutes ago, a person called Creative Bloom in Derby said, we found Business Link to be a great source of help and advice. We love Business Link. So 11 minutes ago, she wrote on her blog, I couldn't even fake this for you guys. Does that make sense, okay? And here we can see is a person, you guys know, so Twitter, here's a little, this is the Twitter symbol, and here is somebody who says, excellent Business Link checklist to use when outsourcing your work. So here's a person saying, here's some great Business Link stuff that you should have. So it's looking for blogs, it's looking for tweets on Twitter. I've never seen such a good example. Here Are people talking about how to overcome your business debts and so on? So this is everybody jibby-jabbing, is the technical term. Everybody jibby-jabbing about Business Link. And this is how Business Link can monitor its reputation to see, are people saying nice things about us, or are people complaining about us? Do you understand why all of you need to be monitoring your social reputation? If you see somebody, go ahead.
I also had this my website about 3 weeks ago, and straight away I got mentioned about 5 or 6 times on Twitter. Not all the same comment. Is there something a bit odd going on? So why would companies, individuals or companies be doing that?
I have to see.
I don't think it was because they particularly, had found my business and thought it was great. It was the same comment on each one, but several different Twitters.
Okay, so the question is that you may find that lots of people are talking about you on Twitter. And that's because in Twitter there's a phenomenon called retweeting. And that means, do you know like in email, how you forward an email to somebody else? Retweeting on Twitter means I take something and I then retweet it onto my friends, so I'm sharing it. And a number of organizations do have automatic retweets set up. So clearly somebody mentioned it and everybody else is just retweeting it. And it probably doesn't mean anything more than that.
No, it's nothing sinister.
So what this will then do is this will show us all the places where people are talking about us. But what's very interesting is, and again it's fallen off the edge, and I'm sorry about this, I can see that there's a website called IntelliBits right here. You see it? I can see that somebody has written about Business Link 5 times recently. This could be a journalist, or this could be a business advisor. If I'm Business Link, what should I be doing with this? And I can actually click on that person's name, by the way, and go see them. What should I do with IntelliBits if they're writing nice things about me? I could give him press releases, couldn't I? He's probably looking for stories to write about. So what I could do is find who writes about my business, and I can give him news, I can give him stories. So what this will do is it will allow you to identify who are the influential people on the social internet, and they are going to be your new best friends. And this is where you need to be, and again, for instance, I'm working with one set of clients. I'm not going to say what they do, but what we now do with these guys is we give them a free sample of our product with a view to the fact we hope that they will write a review about our product. Does that make sense? These are influential people. They're influential in the social space. They're willing to talk about us. Give them content. And again, what we could also then do is, as we're looking about all the things that they're saying about us, we could then go back to social mention, and we could type in our competitor's name. And we're going to see who's talking about our competitors. And it may be that there's interesting information in there. It may be that I could then be giving press releases to those journalists. One of the biggest users, some of the most active users of the internet, of social media, from our small business perspective, are journalists. Journalists love the social internet. How come? Because they're looking for a story, aren't they? They're always looking for an angle, they're looking for a scoop. The internet does their job for them, the lazy boomers.